Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to look at Rafi Devers. If you've been following the Red Sox or just follow baseball, you know that he's off to one of the worst starts in MLB history. He's already struck out 12 times in 4 games. He does not have a hit. He looks completely lost at the plate. And so I was curious to see what's different from last year to this year. And so I've got a few different videos here. On the left, we have this year's swing. On the right, we have last year's swing from May. So he had a really solid month in May. I wanted to try to find some video of him when he was swinging the bat really well. Now these are also both fastballs, middle. So I wanted to make sure that we got the same pitch in the same location. And I have these synced up as best as I can. So let's go through it and talk about some of the similarities and the differences that I see. And please, in the comment section below, put what you see as well. So the first thing, let's just start off with this. As a hitter, when you make the smallest change to your swing, it feels way different. The fact that we're going to go through these two videos, I've already gone through them both, we're going to see some really big differences. This has to feel extremely different to Devers, and it has to feel uncomfortable. And you can see just from the start, let's look at his stance. Look at how close together his feet are right now compared to last year. So his right foot is obviously much closer to his left foot, and it's also much further back towards the outside of the batter's box. That's probably the biggest thing that stands out when you first look at his stance. The second thing is the height of his hands. His hands right here, almost over his helmet, right here, they're at about his ear. Now I typically say that stance is personal preference, and you can stand however you want, unless your stance prohibits you from getting to a strong hitting position on time. And the biggest thing that stood out to me so far in this season with Rafi Devers is that he is consistently late. You're going to see it in this swing. It's a fastball down the middle. He's extremely late. You'll see it over and over again. The first 3 games of the series, the Rangers attacked Devers with fastballs over and over again. He knew fastballs were coming. He could not catch up to them. Then in Game 4, DeGrom did switch it up a little bit. He threw him some off-speed pitches, but when he did see fastballs, again, he was late. So he is consistently late to the fastball. And one of the biggest things, especially at the big league level, but really at any level, is you have to be ready to hit the heater. You have to be on time for the fastball, or else you're going to be in big trouble. And so the fact that his stance has changed so much and he is consistently late and not getting into a good hitting position on time, I do think the first thing to look at is changing your setup. When your feet are this close together, when your right foot is this far towards the outside of the batter's box, when your hands are higher, there's a lot more that has to happen in this stance to get into a good hitting position to hit. Okay, so now let's watch how he gets ready to hit. So I've got these synced up again, and we're going to see it as he starts to get ready. Now notice, he actually starts to move on the left just before he does on the right. So he does start to get his body in motion just a little bit sooner. He's going to start to pick up his foot. Notice his foot picks up first in the video on the left, the old video. And now he's going to start to lift his knee. So let's isolate the lower halves first of both videos. The first thing that stands out, he has a bigger leg kick. He's bringing his foot from the outside of the box all the way to this position. His knee is lifting higher. His front foot is lifting higher. He also brings his front knee back more towards the catcher. The other thing that he's doing is he is coiling a lot more. So we talk a lot in our videos about getting coiled, but there's a much more pronounced coil. If you just watch his belt buckle, watch the stripe on the side of his pants. Notice how much more his belt buckle is turned here. Notice how much more of this red stripe we see on his pants here than here. All of his moves, what you're going to see in a minute, is everything he's doing this year is bigger, more extreme, more movement. Now from here, he's going to start to stride out. Now he gets into a pretty similar position with his lower body, but again, if we think about him being consistently late, he has more movement, he has bigger movements, which some hitters can hit with. But if you are consistently late over and over again, I'm just going to scroll this back and forth. Watch the lower half of both swings. The one on the right looks so much calmer, much less movement, much more under control, and to me, going to be repeatable and be able to get on time with the pitch more easily than the one on the left. Now let's go to the upper body. So, the upper body, a few things that stand out. One, again, more movement on the one on the left. His hands are higher. They're going to start to drop. You'll also see a more pronounced bat tip. And the tip of the bat, it's a little bit hard to see from this angle. The bat gets tipped towards home plate more on the one on the left. So you can see it right here. See how it's really starting to tip? And so right here, the angles look similar, but this one is more behind his head, and this one is over his head more. You can also tell if you look at the knob positioning. The knob positioning on the one on the left is a little bit more this way versus this one is a little bit more that way. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to draw. The other thing is, let's look at his rear arm right here. So his rear arm gets higher on the video on the left. So the old video, the rear arm is getting higher than the one on the right. So again, they're synced up right here. You can see the difference in rear arm. So far we have bigger movement with the lower body, bigger leg kick, bigger coil. We go to the upper body. We have bigger bat tip over his head. We have a higher rear elbow. And so we have way more movement this year than we did last year. Now he starts to move into the ball, and he's going to get his front foot down. Now, when he gets to this point in the swing, you might say, well, it doesn't look that much different at this point. But here's the thing. As he starts to go, watch where this ball is in this year's video. The ball is right there as his barrel is just starting to get into the zone. Whereas in this video, the ball is just coming into contact with the bat. So he is way, way later in this year's video. Watch it again. So here's the swing. Ball is already past him on the left, and he's hitting the ball right there on the right. And this is what every swing has looked like. I mean, this is impossible to hit this ball. It is past him. So one, he's late. Two, if you just watch the hands and the way the barrel works into the zone, let's focus on that for a minute. To me, the barrel is a bit more direct in his older swing. His hands are working down and under a little bit too much on this year's swing. The barrel's getting under the ball a little bit too much. So again, he's late, but he's also under. It's more direct. The hands are staying a little bit higher in last year's swing versus this year's swing. So I do think all of this movement, again, if we go back, all of this excess movement, the barrel getting into this position, which is tipped in front of his helmet, again, this way, the higher rear arm, I think it's just leading to a little bit of a longer, loopier swing, whereas last year, everything was much more direct, simple, under control. The barrel works tighter, it's up a bit more, it's shorter, the hands are higher, again, more direct. Now on the follow through, some people are going to say, oh, it looks like he's pulling off the ball on the one on the left. Anytime you swing and miss at a ball, you're naturally going to look like this. If you make contact, you won't. So don't get thrown off by the finishes because one, he's hitting a homer, and one, he's totally missing. But those are the big things that are really standing out. And I think if you're Devers and you want to get back to being on the fastball, I think you have to do a few things. I would first try to start with my stance similar to this. I think if we can get closer to last year's stance, spread our feet out a little bit more, bring the front foot this way a little bit, lower the hands a little. Let's just simplify everything so that you don't have to make as big of movements. Hopefully doing that will let him calm everything down, tone the leg kick down a little bit, try to stay a little bit more square with the hips. Don't get so closed or coiled. As he starts to get back now, be more subtle with everything with the hands too. Try to keep the rear arm a bit lower. Don't get as handsy with this big tip of the bat forward there. I know this sounds like a lot of stuff, but really I think it's just making everything softer and more subtle, and I think that will calm everything down, and now we'll be a little bit more direct to the ball. We won't be under the ball as much. We should be on time a little bit more, and it should allow us to at least put ourselves in position to give ourselves a chance to hit the fastball, because right now it doesn't look like he has a shot to hit the fastball. And then when you can't hit the fastball, you have to start to cheat to the fastball, which doesn't allow you to hit anything else. And I'm actually going to look at this, which is really cool, and it gives us an idea of where he's standing in the box as far as how deep he is in the box. So we can see that last year he was slightly deeper in the box. He was also slightly closer to the plate last year. And then if we look at the feet, here's what I mean with how close his feet are together this year versus last year. There's his back foot right there. Now from this position, here is where he picks his foot up. So this is the top of his leg kick right here. So this foot isn't on the ground. You have to think about this as being in the air. And notice again that it gets much closer to the plate here than it did there. And I know we can't see his hips, but they're much more coiled and closed in this one. And then we get the stride right here. And you can see this year his stride is a little bit bigger, and it's also a little bit more open versus last year. It was a little bit more closed. And I don't mean closed as far as striding into the plate. I just mean relative to this year, his foot is slightly more closed. And I looked at the front view, but I'm not going to show it because the camera angles are so different. That's the only tough part. From the side, you get a really consistent view from ballpark to ballpark, but from the front, one shot is straight on and the other shot's kind of from an angle, and so it's really, really tough to compare the two swings. But hopefully that's a good look. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to hear. I'm interested to see what types of adjustments Devers makes going forward. Do they continue to throw him out there and play him? Do they give him a little bit of a break and a breather? Does he just continue to stick with what he's doing and hope that something changes, or is he going to make some drastic changes? It'll be interesting to see. That's all I've got. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you later.
If you've got hitters that you're looking to improve before the start of next season, this is essential for you. Matt Antonelli here, former Major League player, first-round pick, and college coach. With this course, we're going to show you exactly, step-by-step, how to generate power, develop bat speed, and enhance swing mechanics. Regardless of your hitter's age, this course is going to deliver advanced hitting techniques that will allow any hitter to get better and make an impact at the plate this spring. We have a full catalog of training content that you can access from anywhere at any time. This course is perfect for players, parents, coaches, instructors, and more. Our course has helped hitters all over the country at different competition levels, and the feedback that we've received has been outstanding. The work you put in now will drive your success at the plate this spring. Get the essential knowledge that you need to take your game to the next level.